To go back, I think some major things that I would say are, first of all, be a man of your word. Be a man of your word. If there's a promise you can't keep, then be honest about that and say, I can't do that. But if you make a promise, whether it's something little, like being on time, or it's something huge, like being trustworthy and some other big thing, be a man of your word. Be consistent in that. As you get older and as you have children, and with my wife, knowing who she is, really knowing her heart, knowing her insecurities. If we're in a room with people, not just kind of going and doing my own thing, but really seeing, okay, where is she, how is she doing, being able to read her and truly know her heart. And with my girls, I think that's the same thing, knowing them, being in the moment. I'm probably ADD. I've never really been tested for it, but my mind is all over the place. And so between ADD and being narcissistic, if I'm really being honest, I like to do my own thing. And so those two things coupled together can really, that just draws my focus into what I'm interested in. And so when my kids come up to me and it's not a convenient time, I might be on my phone going, yeah, I'm painting. Yeah, that's a great picture. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, And I can look and I'll see the look in my daughter's face where she's kind of going along with it because she doesn't want to be embarrassed. But just the look of hurt. And so just being in the moment, because it's probably just going to only be a couple minutes and then they want to go off to the next thing. So yeah, I would say the three big things are being a man of my word, knowing my children, and being in the moment, really being present when I'm with them. The way that I view my dad has a huge effect on the way that I see God. And so my dad was always behind me. My dad always supported me. My dad always believed in me. And so there is that side of things. At the same time, my dad a lot of times was angry. He was a missionary and very intense. And I can be that way. I can have a lot of anger. There's a lot of times I can walk around in my house and my kids will be like, and I don't even know how my facial expression is. And Kate, she'll come up to me and just be like, man, you're in a mood today. And I'm like, what? I didn't even realize that. But I think also seeing that in my father, and we've had a really great conversation about that recently, just where he said to me, hey, tell me everything that I've ever done wrong. And I think that's a huge thing for us as dads, to be able to own up. And we need to be able to say we're sorry. I think there's a tendency to go, well, I can't be wrong, or I can't let my kids know that I'm wrong, because if I do, then they will see that as weakness, and then they will jump on that. Whereas really it's strength, because it is reminding them that I am an imperfect sinner who is in need of God's grace. And if I apologize and I own up, they will apologize and they will own up. And so being able to see God as someone who is gracious, someone who is not all about the rules, someone who is, I've always felt like I've had to perform for him, and that's not just the thing like with my dad, that's just in general. I think it's my personality, whether it's being in Selah or being a missionary kid and feeling like you had to be perfect, otherwise churches might not support your family, just different things like that where I perform a lot and it's exhausting. And so you kind of go, man, I don't feel like I'm ever going to measure up to you. I am never going to be good enough for you, God, for you to truly accept me. And so having to break down those walls and those ideas that are really ingrained in me, that's a big way that I can view God. And so really believing that, man, he has the best for me. He loves me so much. When I think of his grace, I think of all the ways that I've messed up, and he didn't come, and pound me in the head and go, hey, get that thing right, and hey, switch this up. Like he is so gracious. And so just really being able to receive that, I think is a really big thing, and trying to understand more of who he is and how he really sees me.